Thank you. What do you want? Do you want to be known? Do you want to be valued or loved? Maybe it's more tangible than that. Maybe what you desire is a position of leadership or a stimulating job that really brings material wealth or status. Maybe what you want is a spouse, a lover, children, or companionship. These are all healthy human desires. But if you're broken, what you want first is to become whole. And if your heart needs healing, that is the first and only desire of your life. When I first saw the disintegrated heart of a dying patient, I was struck by the image of suffering. Inside that chest was the vital organ that beat precariously to push and pull blood in one more succession of life. It was a battle against death. And that patient, that man, desired one thing, and that was life. Then the transplant began. I placed the aortic cross clamp and completed the recipient cardiectomy. Then in my hands, I held the donor heart, the heart that had been given by a donor who had long before decided that the sanctity of life transcended one's own earthly boundaries. Rapidly, I made the anastomoses. I removed the aortic cross clamp. And it was as if joy came alive in the side of that man. The second that blood filled that allograft, the heart beat miraculously, as though the grand designer himself had sparked that heart. Life had been restored. My passion for the well-being and the healing of my patients began with trying to find the latest technologies to help them restore their lives. Our mechanical circulatory support, or ventricular assist device program, is at the center of our heart program at TG. It's not a new heart. It's sewn, as you can see here, in the apex of the left ventricle and out to the aorta, and overcomes where the original heart has succumbed to the ravages of the end stages of congestive heart failure. It's the culmination of brilliant technology to help the body, its own God-given power to help heal and restore itself. It takes a village to care for these people. My staff and I first evaluate them. We prepare them for surgery. We operate. We observe and then give them an opportunity to heal, first in the cardiovascular intensive care unit and then the coronary care unit. We continue to care for them as they make the beautiful transition home to renewed life, healthy living. We're in constant communication with them as they really start to step out and have something new that they have never had previously or before, or at least in a long period of time before their heart failure began. And they will tell you, all of them will tell you that, boy, I have not felt this good in many, many years. We speak life to them. We assure them that we will never leave them, that we will never abandon them, and that we will see them through this. The statistics are staggering. There are over 13,500 patients who have been implanted with the HeartMate 2 worldwide. Heart failure is the leading cause of death in the United States today, and it's the greatest healthcare crisis facing the American people. To give you an idea, The projected implant rate for the ventricular assist device is about 30 devices per 100,000 patient population per year. In the South Sound area alone, we have about 600,000 patients. That translates into about 180 of these devices, these ventricular assist devices, per year in the South Sound alone. So tell me about the condition of our hearts. And what I want you to see here is, of course, that which I'm drawing in terms of the physical heart and the significance of the physical heart and the spiritual heart. My daughter and I, Magdalene, who was 16 years old, we took a special trip, a father-daughter trip, for spring break, this past spring break 3 weeks ago. My wife and I had given our daughter the trip as a gift. We suggested England. It was the desire of her heart, I must say, to work with orphans in Haiti. I mourned the beer and the hard cider and the pubs of Great Britain, really, that we could have had in a place that I thought she'd really choose. Instead, we flew to Port-au-Prince, Haiti, to help and to encourage our dear friends there who are long-term mission staff members working with the vast population of Haitian orphans and children. Again, I was struck by the gray, listless heart. But this time, it was the heart of a people group. I have been deployed and provided medical care in the Balkans, the Middle East, Iraq, and Ethiopia. And I can honestly say that I have not seen so much hopelessness and despair as I saw in Haiti that week. And sadly, this time, I didn't have a new heart that I could use to renew the heart of this people group that desperately needs healing. I was overwhelmed when I sat and fed a little boy in a feeding program who could not manage to feed himself because he was weak from malnutrition. We had the bakings of rice and meat-based gravy for 240 children that had been purchased by the Haitian staff member that you see here, Chilip. Through the funds of gracious donors. Chilip's own story, sadly, was not unique. Now at the age of 35, but his mother had died when he was 6. He had no father. And he was raised on the streets. But the cool thing is Chilip has been restored because of the life of one. And he now lives to pour out his heart to these kids as the only real father figure that most of them will ever see. I watched as the children played carelessly within the confines of this protected or guarded cement compound called the Bends. Many of them were frail and fatigued from the lack of poor nutrition, or lack of nutrition. They had white patches over the surfaces of their heads, called tinea capitis, a fungal infection. Many of them were ashen gray or even orange because of the lack of appropriate nutrition and food. One little girl I examined had a large scleral defect in her left eye and was losing her sight as a consequence of her poor nutrition. I was overwhelmed when I thought about all of these children. We would sit with them and pray with them, serve them meals, and give them clean water. But what struck me more was the fact that for all of these children for whom we were providing care, there was a line of children outside of the compound, waiting, hoping to receive whatever might remain. From a feeding program that was already over budget. It pains me to think that these children received only 3 meals a week on the other days. They didn't eat consistently. What I saw of sewage in the streets, tent cities of tarps draped across one another, beatings, sickness, and instability was more than I have been able to process to this day, obviously. But I know one thing. I know that we all need healing, and this people group needs healing. And when I am tempted to despair over the Haitian culture, all cultures in general, I know that there is only one true healer who can restore the desires of our heart. The heart transplants in our lives or in our lives come from the real healer. The surgeon isn't the hero here. There's no government, there's no religion, and there's no organization that can restore life. There is only one. And He is the one for whom I work day and night. He is the one true God, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So I ask you again, what is it that you want? I will tell you that I would like to ask you, join me in this quest. And the quest is this, that it's about loving and loving the face before you. That is the way that we can accomplish the restoration of the hearts. We've kind of gotten to this point in our lives where we want the medical professional to take care of all of our medical needs. And we really take no responsibility for our own health and well-being. And similarly, the welfare system and foreign aid in many of these developing countries has led to greater despair, debility, more helplessness, and organizations or countries that are less capable. We've robbed the people, the poor. We've made recipients and clients of the poor and really taken them out of their neighborhood group. It used to be that when a person had a problem, they went to their neighborhood for help. And now that has shifted really to more of the thought that a neighbor doesn't have the skills. So we've destroyed the intimacy of these relationships. And we've made clients and recipients of the poor as opposed to enabling them and releasing them from brokenness and despair by helping them, by creating asset-based community development. But it all starts with a surrendered heart. The injustice of rule, the 85% unemployment in Haiti is stunning in a place where there's so much possibility and sustenance. But it all starts with a surrendered heart. And what I challenge you to do is to love the face before you. My wife and I have 8 children, 5 of whom are adopted from across the country, and they are my joy. Across the world, actually. 3 from the States and 2 from Ethiopia. And despite the challenges of raising children, adopted children, and the sense of rejection and abandonment through which they go, even in your home, it is the greatest joy of our lives to see when you say to them, I love you, without condition, that then they begin to receive the significance of that sonship and daughtership, and they begin to be released from that brokenness and despair that may have been somewhere, someplace, sometime spoken over them. And that's the exciting part. So I ask you to do the same thing, to grab a hold of a face in front of you. There are 210 million orphans in this world. I'm not asking you to go to adopt. But even here locally, to release the poor and the marginalized from brokenness and despair, they must be affirmed. They're children of God whose worth and value must be affirmed. And so what I ask you to do is to go out and grab one of them and see how it is that you can speak life to them and assure them that you will walk them through this. Tell them that you love them. Because it's of that love that we are where we are. Thank you very much.